Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me in another video. So as you can tell based on the title, well, today we're going to be talking about handbags worn this week and a lot of vintage bags worn this week. So we'll first start off with Jennifer Lawrence, and here she's wearing this vintage Fendi bag. From what I've been able to look up, this is the Adele top handle bag. I've noticed she's been seen wearing this bag on multiple occasions. I'm not sure if she's on set for a movie, but it does feel very old-fashioned with that frame detailing. It's not a style that I think has been in trend for a while, but I've definitely been seeing hints of this kind of style with the recent Miu Miu runway. I could definitely see a style like this coming back. It has sort of this very vintage, ladylike quality to it. Continuing on with Jennifer Lawrence, I don't know if she's on a like vintage Fendi kick, but she's clearly loving vintage Fendi, and here she is wearing a vintage Mama baguette. This version has zebra stripes. So of course the Mama baguette was recently reissued in a new version with this drawstring. Here she styled it with this Jill Sander jacket, this Prada skirt, these Celine sunglasses, Adidas sneakers, and this Sophie Buhai moon pendant. Continuing on the vintage Fendi theme, we've got Doechii wearing the Fendi Victor Vasarely baguette bag. It's a really cool op art piece. He was actually an artist, one of the artists known for leading the op art style. He's known for his very geometric, abstract, optical illusion pieces with like grid structures, but I love this baguette on her. I think she looks fabulous. She's also wearing a Donna Karan dress from 2014. When I looked at this bag, it's actually quite a stunning bag. It's hand embroidered with the hardware. It's actually made with malachite stone. This is a really cool, unique collector's piece. Next, we've got Olivia Rodrigo, and here she's wearing a vintage Coach shoulder bag. So I'm personally not a Coach expert, but I was reading articles from Vogue and various other places, Yahoo, I believe, and they mentioned how this is the Coach Ergo bag from 1997, and this is actually a style that you can find pre-loved. And what I find quite interesting, I do know that Coach pre-loved really does have a massive following. I did find it quite impressive how the resale on these bags were quite high. A lot of these vintage Coach styles, the demand for vintage Coach is really there, but this is the Coach Ergo. It's a style they have released in the past, but another style that is very similar that a lot of these articles are mentioning is the Coach Curve zip bag, a really nice style. I love that this has a longer shoulder strap. As much as the Y2K bags have been the style, I do appreciate a longer shoulder strap. It's just more comfortable for me. Like if I want to wear like a coat or a sweater, I do appreciate just a strap that's just a little bit longer. I think this color is great. I love it with her outfit. So this next bag, it's actually not a vintage bag. This is just, I'm going to categorize this as more of like a vintage vibe bag. And this is Lisa wearing a bag from the brand Eau de Paris 1834. So as the name states, it's a Parisian brand from the 1800s, and they created bags during the era of rail transport. The brand name meaning at departure. It actually launched its first store in 1847 in front of the Gare du Nord train station in Paris. What's interesting is in 1958, it actually merged with the luxury brand Moynat, which eventually was acquired by Groupe Arnault, which is a holding company by Bernard Arnault. But this is a brand that's been doing travel goods, trunks, handbags, leather goods, accessories ever since. When looking at a lot of these bags, there is something very classic, like this sort of like old world French classicism with these top handle styles with the clasp. Here Lisa is wearing the Belleville 18, and it's styled with this Cavalli dress for a White Lotus event. I actually really quite like this bag and super underrated. I don't think I've ever seen anybody talk about this brand. Next we have Julia Garner wearing the Gucci Bamboo 1947 top handle bag. So she's at a Gucci event, so she's dressed head to toe in Gucci. She is one of the ambassadors, and I remember the specific look from the fall 2025 collection, worn with this hat and headscarf, but instead she's wearing the scarf around her neck. Of course, this is a bag from the brand they've had since 1947. The bamboo handle was born during the post-World War II era, where traditional materials like leather and metals weren't immediately available, so the founder Guccio Gucci turned to bamboo to create the handles on these bags, and it does have that very distinct look. Even though this was technically from the design team, it does feel like it was from Sabato's era. Gucci, I think, is going to go in a completely different direction, as we await to see what Demna brings to the brand. So next we have Rihanna wearing this Gucci Tom Ford era creation. This is a snakeskin bag, sticking with the Gucci theme here. It's got this bamboo top handle. I love the snakeskin jacket. It's from a brand called Lowther. She's paired that with snakeskin shoes from Amina Muaddi and the Celine Marco jeans. Continuing on with this bamboo bag. Now this to me isn't a vintage bag at all. It's actually a new bag, but the design elements of this do remind me of the Gucci bamboo top handle. This is a bag from Longchamp. This is the Le Rosso extra small bag. So it's got that metal bamboo shaped closure. It's a top handle style, but there's something about this bag that I think it's a really cute style. I think it's a great day to night handbag. It's fun in this bright color, this beetroot color. Her outfit, it's actually Hermes. She's wearing this spring 2025 top and skirt, as well as these Louboutin cape pumps. Next, we've got Dua Lipa wearing this Chanel Triple CC black drawstring bucket bag. So this is a vintage bag from the 90s. While I'm personally not a bucket bag person, I actually really like this style on her. Of course, I've been seeing her quite heavily wearing that Chanel 25 bag, which is also a bucket bag style that folds inward, but it's got those side pockets, which I'm seeing everywhere on Instagram. But she's paired it with this Chanel Resort 2025 cardigan, Margiela tabbies, these redone 90s jeans. I think it's a great, easy, casual, chill Chanel bag. Next, we've got Elsa Hosk, also wearing vintage Chanel. Here she's wearing this red flat bag. It's a little bit more unique in that it doesn't have the classic chain straps, but instead the style has that Kelly top handle. Sometimes you'll see versions like this on the pre-love market, some with that like parent and child version. Love the red and the gray. Something about it just really like pops. Those are some of the bags that I just screenshotted this past week. A lot of vintage bags. I think this interest in vintage bags are just gonna continue to increase. Many bags, even today, they're going for that vintage aesthetic. The amount of bags that we just saw this past runway season alone, all of the reissues, the Fendi Spy bag, the Chloe Paddington, the Murakami drops. I think we're still in this era of handbags where we're just still loving the nostalgia of the past, and we're seeing that on the runway. But I also think another side of it is that a lot of these bags, some of them were just better made, better materials, be it the gold-plated hardware, having bags with malachite. Of course, not every vintage bag is preserved to these levels, but there's also that unique factor. And of course, a lot of people like to stay away from vintage because a lot of people just want to buy what's new from the store. But I definitely think there are some concerns. Of course, if you don't want to do it online, there's so many great consignment stores that sell luxury fashion. That's personally my favorite way to shop, to see a lot of these pieces in person and try them on for myself, because you know, even if it's just buying anything new online, things may not always fit. So it's always just great to try things on. That's my video for today. Thank you so much for joining me in another one, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.